Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura, the film student extraordinaire, and today we are talking about being the main character. I know I'm late to the idea and the trend, but I've really just been pondering this in the new year, so I wanted to talk about it. Now, for those who have no clue what I'm talking about, it's that sense that you're the main character. You know, when you wake up in the morning, you put on a song and it's like your theme song, like you're in a TV show or something, or a movie, and everyone's watching you and you're just like da 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 da. I don't know, I feel like I've had that moment. I feel like everyone does. Or you're crying and it's raining outside and you're listening to sad music and you're looking out the window and you can just see it. You know, you can see the frame, you see the audience watching you be all sad. Or you have the moment that just seems so perfect. It's like in a movie. You have that perfect meet cute with somebody, or you get that dream job and it just, the stars aligned for you. And it's like, you're right, you're right, I am the main character. Everything revolves around me. Not you, not you, me. That's the idea of the main character. And I think there are positives to this kind of main character idea, but there's also some toxic elements that I will get to later in the video. So let's pull out the handy dandy computer with some of my notes and let's get into it.
I was kissing you with my eyes open, but you said keep them closed and be in the moment.
So I definitely want to have some of my thoughts on this, but I thought it'd be better to provide some of my own thoughts after we kind of hear from the masses. Now, I don't have a lot of mass sources, I will admit, but I have some stuff from Quora, which is like obviously cool, and then a couple other articles. So I looked up like what does it mean to be the main character, just to see what, you know, other people had to say versus just kind of like the trends that I saw on YouTube. You know, it's like how to be that, like how to be that girl, how to be the main character in your own life. And it's like wake up really early and eat good food, go on runs, and then you're just gonna be super hot, and as long as you're hot, you're the main character. It's like, is that really what's going on here? Anywho, so this post was super funny, and I will put on the screen. Main character, huh, I wish. Am I the main character of my life? You would think so. After all, it's my life, but I think I'm a sidekick at best and an antagonist at worst. Most times, though, I think I'm an NPC. Now, you might be wondering, but Lauren, what does NPC mean? And that's a non-player character. So that's kind of like when thinking of like The Sims. They're like those characters that just like exist for like quests and stuff. You know, like they don't mean anything. Like they just chill in the background. The people who die first, that kind of character. That's pretty sad. See, a main character has goals, ambitions, fun. They're always on a quest to do something new, and they don't waste their time doing something they do not enjoy. I don't have any of that. How do I know I'm an NPC? Well, my life is boring. Incredibly so. The only time it gets interesting is when some chosen one decides to accept my quest for friendship and carry me along their journey. Not to mention, I've been glitching out lately, losing track of time and what day it is. I don't think main characters experience that. So first, I just want to address this person before we move on to the answer that I thought was really very interesting and why I want to share it. So I don't think that you need to have like strong main like goals or ambitions to be a main character and to take charge of your life, but you do need something. So this person's saying like they just want friends, like they're just going about their life. I think that can be a goal, to make connections. I think some people think a goal or your ambition needs to be like to become president or to, you know, go into space or something that seems really big that other people will be like, oh my god, yes, amazing. But that's not the case. If it's a goal of yours, it doesn't matter if it's just, I want to make a new friend today. That can be the plot. Like if we're thinking of main characters in a movie or something, that could be the plot of a short film. Someone's trying to make a friend. You know, a squirrel gives a chipmunk an acorn. They're trying to make friends, you know, like it may not seem like a big deal, but it doesn't need to be a big deal or super important to be incredibly valid. Also, the kind of idea with some chosen one. You know, like someone else is the main character and you're their side piece. In a sense, you are their side piece, but they could also be your side piece because, you know, they're their main character, right? So I don't think it has to be an all or nothing type of deal. Additionally, with the glitching out, I mean, we all go through mental health struggles. Like when I'm, you know, having a panic attack, you could think of that as a glitch, right? Like, you know, you're unable to do basic human things and function. That's a glitch in a way. I don't think of it as a glitch necessarily. And in that case, I think we should have more main characters glitching out. We should have more representation like that. You should be able to feel like you can be in charge of your own life and doing these things to the best of your abilities while still having some kind of thing that may hinder you on your journey. I think that makes you more of a main character. There's got to be obstacles, right? Like main characters don't have the obstacle-free life. That's like the happy best friend or something. The main character has to get over something to get what they want. So now to a post that I think is, well, I just found to be more resonant. You can't force something that's already true. It may help to know you don't have an opinion there. You are the main character because there was never an alternative. Now I know it feels different, but the truth doesn't change whether you know it or not. The only thing that does change is how you see the truth, that you're always and always have been the main character in your life. It does get tricky though. The rest of the world is other people, and their truth is that you're not the main character. They are right for them. A great way to grow is to be a beautiful other person. Because even though you might be a stranger to most people, they'll remember stuff that made them feel better. So just be bright, do good things when you feel confused. Doing good things and being grateful as often as possible are always good things. You can't be wrong when you're doing good things and being grateful with everything you can. Only you are you. Some people may be jealous, some people may not care, but only you have a say in what that means. You're the driver always, right now in every memory, and even when you're sleeping. Just be open to seeing the truth and accepting it. Have a willingness to see what's real, and you'll begin to see more. I honestly think that's beautiful. I mean, starting right at the beginning with, you know, you are the main character because there was never an alternative. Due to how we experience life, you only are experiencing life through your eyes. You know, you can hear from other people and try to get their perspective, but we only experience life through ourselves. So we are constantly kind of narrating our own life in some form or another. I know some people have more thoughts than others, and some people see things in colors or sounds or smells, whatever. But you are figuring out how you go about life, which means you are your main character. There's no other way to be. They do mention how you're the main character in your life, but you're not the main character in other people's lives. And then they say, like, that shouldn't make you feel bad. Instead, you should aim to be someone who helps out other people. You know, you want to be the good person. You don't want to necessarily be the villain, I think, in other people's lives. At least I don't want to be a villain in other people's lives. Maybe sometimes I'm a character that may be confused at one point, or someone who maybe someone thinks is a bad character, but then like, oh, they're actually not a bad character, because everyone has bad days, and you might say something you regret. And that's normal. It's human. It's how life works. But if you are overall trying to do good things and making a nice impact on the world and other people, then it almost doesn't matter if you're the main character in other people's lives because you're still a good character. And I think that's a nice distinction this person makes, where it's like, well, what is the point of being the main character? Why do you want this kind of main character status? What do you do with the main character status? Like, what if you really were the main character? It doesn't mean you can boss people around. Maybe they're all revolving around you, like the Truman Show, and then everything's kind of fake, and like their lives don't exist beyond you. Like, how does that make a difference in your life? No, not really. In fact, it means there's less things for you to experience because they're only making things for you. How can you ever experience new things or learn about new stuff if everything's always curated to what your existence already is? I think it's amazing that there's other people that we can not really infiltrate their lives, but be exposed to each other and offer each other new perspectives. And then I also found a good quote from a Medium article, which says, being the main character is simply this. Don't admire others. Instead, look at your goals and take the necessary action to get to the level you want to be in. And this goes back, I think, to that first Quora post we looked at with that person who said they had no goals, but then they talked about how they want friends. And I think that's just a reminder that there's different levels of goals, different types of goals, and you can kind of self-actualize the main characterness for yourself. For instance, I felt sort of like the main character over the weekend when I was directing the movie because I was like, I'm in charge of this set. But to the actors, I'm sure they felt like they were the main characters because they're literally the actors, right? Like, and my DP, you know, if he's not there, there's no camera. Like, everyone is these essential people, and we come together to create a much bigger story than the story we each have on our own. I also thought the media article had some fun rules to see how you're doing with being the main character in your own life, and I thought that I would go through them, and I would love if you guys could comment down below how you're doing with these goal status things. 1, focus on your passions without ignoring life necessities. So like for me, I love movies, I love making movies, writing scripts, reading stuff, and I love like making YouTube videos as well with editing pictures. So I want to do that. Like I'm obviously making a video now, I was just shooting my senior film, like I'm trying to focus on that stuff. But I'm still doing my other things, I'm still going to be working my part-time job, I'm still taking my other classes, I'm still going to do work. I'm still trying to take care of myself. I cleaned my room today. And I think, to me, I feel like I'm checking off that main character part of like trying to follow your dreams and being passionate and purposeful in that regard. Then we have don't pursue things out of insecurities. Take action because you value and love yourself. I think I'm definitely getting better at this. I don't know if I'm a 100% because sometimes I feel like there are things that I'm like, ooh. And then I have to be like, do you actually like that, Lauren? Or is it just like a trendy new thing that everyone else is doing and you want to try it out? Because it's very tempting to want to be like in on that crowd sometimes. But I think overall I'm like pretty good at that. I hope. I definitely have gotten so much more confident. I think everyone gets more and more confident ideally as they get older, but I think I act on my insecurities less. And I'm trying to value and love myself. I mean, overall, I like myself a lot. I don't always think I would say I love myself every day, which might sound really depressing, and it's definitely something I'm trying to work on. Obviously, I would love to love myself every day, but it's just not that easy, but I'm working on it. So I'd say on that, I'm maybe like a 50%. Then we have make a bucket list and don't wait around to get to it. So I think I'm doing this. I mean, I was hoping to go to New Zealand, but COVID got in the way, but I also want to go to the Grand Canyon, and my sister and I are doing that in June. So, you know, maybe do one thing, but we're doing something else. And, you know, I wanted to make this my senior thesis film, and that may seem like a what a bucket list item, but like we're making that. I don't know. I mean, I'm working on, you know, trying to deepen my relationship with God. I'm doing that. I mean, some of these bucket lists are also just like goals in general. And there's like big extreme things I want to do. Like one day I would love to go to Hawaii because it sounds beautiful. I would love to do that one day. With COVID, maybe that bucket list item is not like the most realistic, but I'm not going to try to let my life go by without doing that. Like with New Zealand, my sister and I are already hoping to go now for in 2025, providing COVID's better. So I wish I had more bucket list items. I mean, I want to like get married and have kids. I can't exactly jump the gun on that with myself. I mean, I guess ultimately I can have kids by myself if I don't get married. But, you know, there's some bucket list items you do have to wait for. But there's other things that you can just do. Like, say you want to start learning a new instrument. Start learning that instrument. Don't wait for like the right time, because there's never going to be the right time. You want to learn a new language? Start learning it. You want to, I don't know, try to get in shape? Start walking. Like there's so many things you can do that may seem like so lofty that they're never going to happen, but you can just start. You know, it's the new year, so I think a lot of people are like, what's the new year, time to start? But it's a new year every day. You can make your new year whenever you want. You can start something new anytime. And I think that's the point of it. And I would say at the bucket list item, I probably, I don't know, maybe like 75% of that. Then we have write down your issues, go to therapy. I just realized I said the wrong thing. So with the make a bucket list, that was actually for going with you of one life, make the most of it. Which makes, yeah, like you, if you're the main character, you're doing stuff. And doing stuff can mean different things. Like sometimes I spend ages like doing like logic puzzles, listening to music. Maybe that doesn't seem like a big thing to other people, but I love doing that. It's relaxing, it's fun. So to me, I'm doing it. Like if what would make me sad is if, say, I was forcing myself to do something when I really want to do the logic puzzle. Then I feel like I'm wasting my time and I will have a regret. Right, back on track. So work on your insecurities by writing down your issues, going to therapy, etc. I'm definitely working on my insecurities. I would say that, I mean, they're not 100%, but, you know, I'm in therapy. I am, you know, I have like my gratitude journal that I'm getting back into, and I'm definitely, I feel like on the right track in that sense, because if you're the main character, you have to grow. And what we learned about in story structure is that, you know, main characters, the heroes, like they die and they come back to life. Now, death doesn't necessarily mean like actual death. Like sometimes it can, and you kind of come back to life really dramatically. But other times it's just like a big change. Something really, you know, important happens to you, or you go through a really dark period and you rise up about it. And there's a big period of growth there, and you're working on that and you're trying to grow. And insecurities can sound like a really bad term, and I would say no one wants to be insecure, but it's okay to have flaws. Everyone has flaws. Literally nobody is perfect except, you know, Jesus, and he's the Son of God, you know, so I wouldn't try to feel bad about the fact that you have flaws. But you shouldn't just necessarily excuse them all and let things get worse. You know, like you should try to see how you can grow as a person, except you'll never be perfect, but just strive for growth. And then the last goal is to build connections and help others around you. I think that's really nice because there's the building connections personally and professionally, which I think I'm pretty good at. And then there's like helping other people around you, because their whole message here is that if you're the main character, there's lots of other characters that you're going to influence, right? Like that's what the main character does. So what's the point of being the main character if you just like sit around by yourself? You're not a main character if you don't interact with anything or anyone. So I love interacting with people. I'm an extroverted, but I try to do volunteering. I do my best to involve myself in communities. And I think that, it gives me a lot of joy personally because I love connecting with others, but it's also nice. It's nice to feel part of something bigger. I like to think of myself as, like a kind of a string or a piece of thread in like a large tapestry. We're all in it together making something beautiful. And you don't always necessarily see your piece up front, but when you like step back, it's like, oh my God, wow, we made something really great. And I love that idea. Now, as that note that I mentioned about the toxicity of the main characterness, with main character syndrome, you kind of want to avoid that because it can come across as narcissistic. Everything may sort of revolve around you in your own mind, but if you try to impose that on other people, it's like, no, their lives do not revolve around you. And if you think you can demand that from them for some reason, that is annoying, rude, and it's not going to gain you any favor, any happiness, anything like that. The thing is, you don't live a fictional life. You don't live a life that someone wrote for you that has a kind of struggle here and a great thing here. You may have a moment that seems straight out of a movie, but it's not. It's your life. And because of that, you can't redo things. You don't have a set up villain that's trying to tear you down. And I think it can be really easy to get caught up in this idea and try to romanticize every aspect of your life. And it's nice to romanticize certain things and to like put value on it per se, but romanticizing to the point where you don't see reality anymore is dangerous. Another thing is you only get this one life to become the best version of yourself. There's no redo button. There's no sequel. There's maybe a spin-off if you have kids that you've influenced or something, or anyone in your life you've influenced. But there's no sequel for you. There's no reboot for you. It's just this one shot. Also, just to reiterate, everyone else in your life, although they might be supporting characters for you, they're their own main character and you support them. And that's, I think, what makes it a nice balancing act where we're all in each other's lives in different capacities and we all offer great value. I think ultimately, whether or not you think of yourself as the main character, more importantly is that you're a human. You're a person. You're not a fictional being. You're a real life entity. And it's up to you to decide what to do with that. There are things that are going to be out of your control, but there are always things you can do to try to have a good attitude, make the best of situations, and then it doesn't matter if you're the main character or not, because you're still making a great impact on the world, yourself, and others. I hope this was an interesting video. I kind of have come to the conclusion that I am a main character of my own life. I don't know if I'm the main character, and I'm happy with that because, more importantly, I'm Lauren Elizabeth Schwartzbard. Okay, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below your thoughts on the kind of main characterness, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.